Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is the video of my presentation about extensive reading explanatory text. The title is How Climate Change is Affecting the Planet. I'm Tika Rahai Pujanti with the student number 432231902048. Explanatory text is a text, also called as explanation text, is a type of factual text that explains a process, for example, how something works or why something happens. In this video is about how climate change affecting the planet. There are three structures of explanatory text. The first is general statement. General statement stating the phenomenon issues which are to be explained. An explanation or sequence of events is about stating a series of steps which explain the phenomena. And the last is closing. Closing contained with the solution or conclusion. This is my reading report for how climate change is affecting the planet. Climate change is the defining crisis of our time, and it is happening even more quickly than we feared. But we are far from powerless in the face of this global threat. The climate emergency is a race we are losing, but it is a race we can win. Rising temperatures are fueling environmental degradation, natural disasters, weather extremes, food and water insecurity, economic disruption, conflict, and terrorism. Those are the examples of how climate change affects the planet. The other is sea levels are rising, the Arctic is melting, coral reefs are dying, oceans are acidifying, and forests are burning. It is clear that business as usual is not good enough. As the infinite cost of climate change reaches irreversible heights, now we as a human being and living the earth is a time for us for bold collective action. Between 3.3 billion and 3.6 billion people, more than 40% of the world's population, live in places and in situations that are highly vulnerable to climate change. Some are already experiencing the effects of climate change, which vary by region and are driven by factors such as geography, how that region is governed, and its socio-economic status. The report also references for the first time historical and ongoing patterns of inequity such as colonialism that contribute to many regions' vulnerability to climate change. Climate change is impacting human lives and health in a variety of ways. It threatens the essential ingredients of good health, clean air, safe drinking water, nutritious food supply, and safe shelter, and has the potential to undermine decades of progress in global health. Between 2030 and 2050, climate change is expected to cause approximately 250,000 additional deaths per year from malnutrition, malaria, diarrhea, and heat stress alone. The direct damage caused to health is estimated to be between 2 to 4 billion US dollar per year by 2030. Over the past 1 million years, the Earth has experienced a series of ice ages, including cooler periods or glacials and warmer periods or interglacials. Glacials and interglacial periods cycle roughly every 100,000 years, caused by changes in Earth's orbit around the Sun. For the past few thousand years, Earth has been in an interglacial period with a constant temperature. Human activity that can cause the climate change. Cutting down forests. Cutting down forests to create farms or pastures or for other reasons causes emissions. Since trees, when they are cut, release the carbon they have been storing, since forests absorb carbon dioxide, destroying them also limits nature's ability to keep emissions out of the atmosphere. Manufacturing goods. Manufacturing and industry produce emissions, mostly from burning fossil fuels to produce energy for making things like cement, iron, steel, electronics, plastic, cloth, and other goods. Mining and other industrial processes also release gases. Using transportation, most cars, lorries, ships, and planes run on fossil fuels. That makes transportation a major contributor of greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide emissions. Road vehicles account for the largest part, but emissions from ships and places continue to grow. Powering buildings. Globally, residential and commercial buildings consume over half of all electricity. As they continue to draw on coal, oil, and natural gas for heating and cooling, they emit significant quantities of greenhouse gas emissions. Climate change can cause floods. When Earth's hotter climate is causing the atmosphere to hold more water, they're releasing the water in the form of extreme precipitation events. Wildfires. Earth's hotter atmosphere soaks up water from the earth, drying out trees and tinder that amplify the severity of wildfires. Heat waves. Earth's atmosphere, now saturated with emission from human activity, is trapping warmth and leading to more frequent periods of extreme heat. Keep fossil fuels in the ground. Fossil fuels include coal, oil, and gas, and the more that are extracted and burned, the worse climate change will get. All countries need to move their economies away from fossil fuels as soon as possible. Switch to sustainable transport. Petrol and diesel vehicles, planes, and ships use fossil fuels, reducing car use, switching to electric vehicles, and minimizing plane travel will not only help stop climate change, it will reduce air pollution too. Reduce how much people consume. Our transport, fashion, food, and other lifestyle choices all have different impacts on the climate. This is often by design, fashion, and technology companies. For example, we release far more products than are realistically needed. But while reducing consumption of these products may be hard, it's most certainly worth it. Reducing overall consumption in more wealthy countries can help put less strain on the planet. Reduce plastic. Plastic is made from oil, and the process of extracting, refining, and turning oil into plastic, or even polyester for clothing, is surprisingly carbon intense. It doesn't break down quickly in nature, so a lot of plastic is burned, which contributes to emissions. Demand for plastic is rising so quickly that creating and disposing of plastic will account for 17% of the global carbon budget by 2050. Questions 1. COVID-19 became the serious issue that hit the world. One of the effects of climate change is the air pollution. The question is, does air pollution increase the risk of getting coronavirus? 2. What are some actions that you apply to prevent worsening climate change? This is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.